What up, me omega-3s? Wilson here, and today I want to share with you an additional nutrition protocol that you can use. It's very, very powerful, but in the wrong hands, it can be very destructive as well. And if you've hit a weight loss plateau, it's probably just the thing for you, but I want to give you I want to tell you how to do it, but I also want to give you a few guidelines to ensure that it's not going to be destructive for you. So if you're needing at this stage now that little bit more of a nudge to continue the weight loss, this technique will allow you to utilize insulin for fat burning instead of it always being against you and causing the fat storing, which is obviously what we don't want to see. So it's called intermittent fasting. You've probably come across it in the media or in the press, but it's very, very misinterpreted. People just think, oh, I don't eat and then I'm going to lose weight. Well, of course you're going to lose weight if you don't eat. That's a given. But what tends to happen in actual reality is that people don't eat to the point where they're just craving food, and then it's got to be quick, it's got to be easy, full of sugar and carb dense foods that we go for. So that's what in reality tends to happen, is people start with all the best intentions not to eat a thing and do the fast correctly, but then they get to the end and then they just crack, and then they open up the fridge and like a ravenous caveman, they open up and just devour whatever's quick, easy, and in sight. So we want to prevent that from ever happening if we are going to use this little protocol. So it's called intermittent fasting, and basically it's going to sensitize your insulin hormone by not putting anything into the bloodstream that spikes blood sugar. Okay, if you think about it, if you keep punching yourself over and over and over and over and over and over again, you become numb. So what happens with weight gain is that if we keep eating and supplying lots and lots of sugar and lots of food in the body, too much protein is sugar, an excessive refined or wholesome carbohydrates are sugar, you're basically punching insulin until it becomes numb, until it becomes desensitized, until it doesn't actually benefit us like it's supposed to. This is why we start getting diabetes, metabolic syndrome, etc. So the way to spin things around and put things back to normal is to don't put any sugar in the blood whatsoever. Actually, at the same time, stimulate through adrenaline fat loss. Okay, we can actually start to pull out fat using adrenaline through fat loss. Now, let's go back in time. This is an innate mechanism built inside of us human beings to ensure survival. So what happens if there's a famine, if there's not a lot of food, is that the body kind of starts releasing adrenaline to get you moving. The consequence of that is that we start burning more energy, but it's to get you moving so you go out and find food. Okay, that's our innate mechanism getting into practice right there. However, over a long period of time, your body will just start thinking, famine's on the horizon, I'm going to start packing pounds around my waist. That's not what we want to do. So we want to use this intermittent fasting, the benefits of fasting, purposely for fat loss, but we don't want it to then lead to cravings, then end up binging, or we don't want it to end up into storing a spare tire around our waist neither. So the way that they do it, probably the most safest way to do it, is a daily intermittent fast. Instead of doing a whole 24 hours, just do a 16-hour fast. Okay, that might be that you wake up, you have your breakfast, start your fast, continue throughout the day, and then say around about 8 o'clock, then you have your evening meal. So you've fasted throughout the day. Another way of doing this is doing a 24-hour fast, which obviously is more effective, but then you do start risking, risking the cravings. If you are a very strong willpower individual, try going for 7 o'clock in the morning to 7 o'clock in the morning the following day. That way you can have breakfast and then finish it with breakfast. Okay? Essentially, the biggest part of that will be the sleep. The biggest part that you'll notice that that you're craving foods is going to be in sleep time. So when you do wake up, then obviously you get to have breakfast. So probably a 7 o'clock till the 7 o'clock or 6 o'clock till the 6 o'clock is a great way to do a 24-hour fast to allow insulin to benefit for you again, and you will notice the weight loss in doing that 24-hour fast. But the very important thing is that you haven't gone throughout those 24 hours or those 16 hours and then you eat something that's really calorie dense food, full of sugar, full of carbohydrates. What we want to ensure that we're doing is break the fast. The way that I like to start a fast and break a fast is just simply with some celery and some almond butter, some nut butter, and then eat the celery with the almond, just to start stimulating your appetite again, but also so we're not going through that long period of fasting where insulin is low and then spiking it really high and having a shock on the body, having that effect on the body where it kind of goes back on what we've just tried to achieve. So it's very, very important, people don't do this, very important that you start the fast with a healthy, clean meal and you end the fast with a healthy, clean meal, and don't just dive into binging, okay? Make sure they're small meals and then go back to your regular eating. Say about lunchtime, you'll have a nice sized meal for your lunchtime, maybe a chicken salad. But again, don't be eating carbohydrates unless if it's post-workout. If it's post-workout, you can eat them. So that's the intermittent fasting protocol. The rule of thumb is that you start the fast with a clean meal and you end the fast with a clean meal. You could do the 16-hour fast or the 24-hour fast, entirely up to you. Obviously the 24-hour will benefit you more, but I've known great results just coming from the 16-hour fast. That way you're not risking binging. And as I say, the biggest problem is that people tend to fast and then they binge at the end of it, like almost to reward themselves. Okay, make sure you're not that guy. You steadily go back into your normal eating pattern. Break it first with a breakfast if you're going to go for the 7 o'clock fast, and then 6 hours later have your usual back to normal eating again. And then remember, your carbohydrates shouldn't be at the end of that fast. Those carbohydrates should be post-workout only. Okay, we're still keeping high fat, no more than a palm serving of protein, about 20 grams of protein, and about 5% carbohydrates per meal. Stick to that platform still, okay? Stick to that formula still, but implement the intermittent fasting on a less active day, so you won't really feel the effects of it. So maybe a Sunday, if Sunday is your relaxing day. Start it on the Saturday, end it on the Sunday, back into work on the Monday would be a great way to do it. So you could do it, for example, starting next Saturday, and then there you go. That's intermittent fasting. If you're needing that additional kickstart with the weight loss, we can start implementing, but don't do it if you're somebody that's going to crack and binge. Okay, give it a go, guys.